What a week it has been. So let's get a little bit of analysis after this Tuesday's parliamentary vote of no confidence against President Jacob Zuma. There's much chatter by political parties about the way forward leading up to the 2019 national elections. Well, joining us now for this analysis regarding all that we've seen coming out this week and, of course, in previous weeks and what's been said, we've got political commentator Prince Mashele in studio with us. Good to have you, Prince. Welcome to Morning Live.
Thank you very much for having me, and
absolute
greetings
pleasure
to viewers at home.
What did you make of this week? I mean, no surprise, I imagine, or particularly, obviously, that the president is still in, but the margin of votes. What did you make of that?
Look, it was a historic week in the sense that, one, for the first time, this was the 8th motion of no confidence, but for the first time, it was conducted through a secret ballot. So there was a chance for anything to happen. The ANC was scared. Opposition parties were also scared. But the outcome of that suggests that the ANC has big problems in its hands. Now it knows that it has more than 20 parliamentarians who have totally cut themselves off the command system of the ANC. In other words, those parliamentarians are no longer controlled by the ANC. The question is, who controls them? Yeah. So the party is divided. But then the opposition parties has also been left in a position that is a little precarious. Finding out and knowing what to do next, it's tricky. And we see the DA, by the way, is now calling for the dissolution of parliament. It's part of the confusion that is on the side of opposition parties. So it's really an interesting situation.
Yeah, and the EFF are not supporting this next move by the DA. They're saying they don't want anything to do with this. I mean, do you think it's a clever move by the DA, or really is this not the way forward?
It's a bad move. In the first place, holding an election is a very expensive exercise. I doubt if the DA itself, by the way, is ready for this if they were to be granted this tomorrow. So all the political parties in parliament are not ready for an election. Number two, why dissolve parliament? Parliament is not Jacob Zuma. Parliament is not the ANC. Parliament is everybody who is representing the South African. I think it's a terrible move. The DA just didn't know what to tell South Africa a day after the defeat in parliament. I think what they should have said is that the ANC has collectivized corruption. It has taken ownership of corruption. What remains now is for people to vote opposition parties in 2019. That would have been a strategic message.
Yeah. If elections, let's speak hypothetically, seeing what has unfolded, and if elections are called, how badly or how well do you think the ANC will do?
Look, I think the ANC would do terribly. Let me give you scenarios. If the ANC, for example, were to elect Nkosazana Zuma in December as its presidential candidate, the ANC will be kicked out of power. It wouldn't believe what would happen. South Africans are talking. They just cannot accept Nkosazana Zuma because they think she is a stooge of Jacob Zuma and she's a stooge of the Guptas. So that candidature is a no-no for the ANC. If they do it, they will be out of power. They can even get less than 40%. If they elect Cyril Ramaphosa, that will be a shock absorber for the ANC. But they would have a challenge in KwaZulu-Natal. We see the growth of the IFP in KwaZulu-Natal again. So Cyril would have a challenge in KwaZulu-Natal, but it would actually be a shock absorber for the ANC nationally. If they were to win under Cyril, it would be under 55%, somewhere around 53%. But there's also a possibility, if they are hit hard in KwaZulu-Natal, for the ANC actually to get around 48%, 47% under Cyril Ramaphosa. So the ANC is really in a corner. There is a chance for a coalition government in 2019 in South Africa.
Sure. And that's something that is becoming more and more of a reality as we see the breakup within the ANC. Because, I mean, when we talk of the ANC and COSATU, do you think that this could be the formation of that breakaway, that new party?
Look, I have no doubt about it. I know, for example, I can tell you that there are people in the ANC who are already working on a splinter party. Should Nkosazana Zuma win in December, there will be a splinter party to be announced from the ANC. There's no question about it. The ANC is in a terrible shape. The tripartite alliance is dead. Where have you ever heard it that a president of the ANC would be banned from addressing the South African Communist Party or COSATU? It has never happened. This is historic stuff. Yeah. So the tripartite alliance is in disarray. The ANC is in the worst shape since 1994. So anything is possible if the ANC doesn't lose the 2019 elections, I think it will be very hard to hit the ANC into the future. This is the weakest.
You talk about the ANC losing, but where will the votes go? Is it the EFF? Is it the DA?
It will be a split. In fact, polls already suggest, in fact, the poll that was conducted, the recent one, says the ANC will get 42% nationally. The EFF around 11%, just under 11%, the DA around 25%. And of course, this picture might change. So if you have a picture like that, it would mean that opposition parties will have to form a coalition government on their own. You will have to have as many opposition parties as possible. So it's not going to be the case of the EFF and the DA forming a coalition government. They will need other partners as well. So the votes will be split. It will not be one leader that is clear. It will actually be a spread.
Yeah, so the reality of a coalition government here in South Africa come 2019 is getting more and more real, even though going into the elective conference in December, which is going to be interesting. I mean, you've spoken about two of the candidates, Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma and Cyril Ramaphosa, who, by the way, you talk about being barred. I mean, we just heard yesterday that Cyril Ramaphosa has been barred from going to the Marikana commemorations, and that, I think, is one of the big points that is going to hamper Cyril Ramaphosa, is the Marikana incident.
Cyril has a lot of explaining to do. That's why he's not going to have a smooth ride to power. One, he will have to explain Marikana. Two, he will have to explain why has he been defending a discredited president all along. Three, he will have to explain to South Africans what new ideas does he have to pull South Africa out of the current economic crisis. Cyril hasn't actually offered South Africans anything. And by the way, he doesn't come across as a courageous leader. Generally, the perception is that he's a spineless leader. So he's not going to have an easy ride to power. If he thinks that's going to happen, I think he's naive.
Yeah. So let's wrap up this part of the conversation. We're going to take a break and carry on. But if not Cyril, if not Nkosazana, who? We've still got Lindiwe Sisulu, Jeff Radebe, the other candidates that have come through as well, Matthews Poza. And who am I missing?
There is
possibly Baleka Mbete.
Baleka Mbete. There is Paul Mashatile.
Yeah, there's another one for you.
Yeah, it's a whole, and this is unprecedented, by the way, in the ANC. You know what? It has two meanings. One, the bar has been lowered too low. Who could be worse than Jacob Zuma really as a leader of a party?
Yeah.
That's number one. Number two, these other candidates, actually, they know that they're not going to be presidents of the ANC. They are imagining a situation where no one emerges as a clear victor. So they will be at a negotiation table to negotiate a deal. So they want actually to be in the top 6 via the back door. They are not looking at the top job, but in the top 6. That's their tactic.
Yeah. All right, let's take a break. We're going to continue this conversation. If you want to join in, please do tweet us at Morning Live SABC. We'd love to hear from you. The ANC political parties marching forward to our general election in 2019. Interesting times we're living in. Add your voice to it. Right, let's take a break. See you now.